Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Terenza Breads. We skipped through the questions because the questions weren't all that exciting. They just asked, "Are the models in Old World are they all plastic or resin?" And it was already answered that they were all plastic, which is very nice. And then they asked, "What was the biggest models?" And they basically said it was the hot air balloons. And then they asked, I don't know, where they were from, and then there's just a bunch of people just stating where they were from. And then they asked who was the new empire, this new army's rivals, and they basically said no one because they're the oldest civilization around and they've never been toppled. Except for, and they really don't like chaos, so there's that. Alrighty, let's go. He's about to jump into, I think, Kill Team. Yeah, Kill Team. Whoa. Vulcus trembles underneath Tentacons. Unstable. Send update. Beep boop bop boop. Unauthorized Zeta 045. Already? Unresponsive. Signal drowned in static. Archeotype tech recovered. Imperative. Unfortunately, I cannot play the music and sound for this stuff because I will get ID claimed. I did it for the other one just because that was a new faction. Looks like we've got some Tyrannid boys and some Robo boys going at it. Whoa! Alright, we got some new Kill Team stuff coming up. Oh, he's gonna, yep, I'm sorry, I wasn't fast enough.
Coming for Kill Team, and it's extremely exciting. We have got a big box here full of loads of miniatures and the much asked for, much waited for Tyrannid specific Kill Team is here in the form of the Raveners. First of all, before we go any further, very quickly, Alex, where is type and set and who are the combatants?
So we are still on Vulcus, we're in Hypersilicus, the Great Gun has fired, and when it does fire, the backdraft sort of levels everything around it. One of the things that sometimes happens is that sinkholes open up, and when they do, that allows access below the Great Gun, and so...
So we've got this Brain Boy here, and then there was a Brain Boy bug too, but let's see what if these models are going to be any good, because I saw some of the special models for these, and they did not look good, Chet. They did not look good at all.
What happens is the Adeptus Mechanicus send out these teams of sacrificial servitors to...
That one's decent looking, but you'll see in a minute. There's some, I think this is from the 8th edition, or whatever edition, I don't remember what edition we're on. I hopped in during 7th edition, there's been 8th edition, 9th edition, 10th edition, I think it's 10th edition. Yeah, 10th edition is the one with the NIDS. That might be one from 10th ed. A model we've already seen,
Go and find some of the archaeological bits that are hidden down there. But when they've done so...
See, there's a Brain Boy there, and then there's a big, gross, sacky Brain Boy there. And then we've got that dude there that's kind of in a neat pose. Or it's not really neat, it's just kind of generic looking, but it's kind of better than some of the other stuff that we've seen.
They've awoken some Raveners.
Oh dear, you don't want to wake Raveners. That's the worst thing to do. Because in this box we have the new Raveners Kill Team. 5 miniatures in the Raveners Kill Team. You'll also notice there are some Hormagaunts in the background here too, but we'll talk about the Hormagaunts in just a second. But the Raveners Kill Team is 5 models, and you can make quite different versions here. You could make them onto Ravener Warriors if you wanted to, as you see in footage.
That's nice. I like when they give you options to switch up models to make them into something different, to change the bit of gameplay that you have. I don't like it when they give you options just for the sake of I don't know what I was going to say. My brain just kind of swapped out. Like, if they give you options that make sense, that's cool. I don't like it when they give you stuff that, like, options and stuff that you can never use and whatnot.
Okay, but you can also make it prime, as much as other things we're going to go over in a second. Alex, Raveners are...
I really don't care for how this thing looks. It gives me kind of an evil Zoidberg type deal.
Powerful and terrifying, right?
Indeed, they're powerful, live, driven by an all-consuming hunger. Reports say that sometimes they can be deposited on a planet, they burrow through rockcrete, armor, flesh, all with the same level of ease, and they can basically hide out for years, if not decades. And that seems to be what's happened here on Vulcus. As you mentioned, these can be built into several different sub-varieties. So you've got the Prime, who's a nodal hub for the brood and coordinates the rest of them. The Feltalon with...
See, Tyrannids are supposed to be scary looking, and this doesn't read scary to me at all. It just looks... I don't know. It's just there's no real cool to this thing. I really don't care for it.
Claws that pump toxins that can then be tracked. The venom spitter that, as you can probably guess, spits venom.
That one looks a
The
little bit
Wrecker,
more
which is a heavily
different.
muscled, armoured version which can break through.
I like that one's face. It skipped the one I was going to talk about. This one, I like the face. The back is alright. It's got some big, meaty claws. But again, it's not really scary or intimidating looking. I mean, it just looks kind of funny and wonky to me. And it could just be the angle or how it's painted, but it just... It's just meh.
Through into bunkers. My favourite, the tremor scythe. It's got a hypersensory array to detect vibrations and chemical signatures like fear. And as you said,
Like, again, these are kind of... I don't like this, chat. I don't like this. These are look like... Maybe if these were coming out of a different part of the body and not the head, they don't look intimidating. I mean, these look dull. They look like giant dull fingernails. They don't look like razor sharp scythes yet. I don't like it.
Rescue warriors.
Now, if you've ever played Space
And the
Marine 2,
tongue.
you'll have come across the Ravenous.
This is what I saw. This is the picture of what I saw. This is what I don't like. The tongues look stupid. I mean, that just doesn't... I like this. I like the weird pull-up things here. But everything else, I really don't care for, chat. They just look really weird and goofy. And I don't like it. I really don't like these. There's not much that's cool about them. There's not much that's intimidating about them. They just don't look grimdark. They don't feel grimdark. They just look like off-brand, dollar-brand Tyranids. I don't like them.
In there, and they burrow through the ground, and that's just so difficult to deal with. And that comes through in Kill Team as well. They actually have a rule where you draw a tunnel as the game continues.
I'd rather have the meth cracked out Tyranids from that last box that we saw than these guys, because at least that made sense, and the people that worked on them or worked with that, you could tell they actually liked what they did. But these, like, again, these just look like dollar brand Tyranids. They're not scary. They're not imposing. They don't have the rule of cool. They're just disappointing. You know, why not Zoidberg-ish feel?
And your warriors and your Ravenous can just pop in or pop out of that tunnel as the game continues, really
like what they
confusing
do.
your foes. If I tell Kill...
So this one's got a weird face. I don't know how I feel about the face. And then this one here, I wouldn't mind the split open maw. That would be kind of cool. But again, I don't know. I really don't know. There's something about it that's just, it's not cool. It's just odd, you know?
Kill Team players, these guys have an APL of 3 apiece. That makes them super good. And they can all fight twice in an activation, which is terrifying too. Yeah, absolutely monstrous foes. Only, I think, 5 models is one of the smallest Kill Teams, but they are tough. They are real big and tough. Lots of wounds, lots of APL. Be terrified. Maybe not quite as terrifying, but pretty cool as well. The Battle Clade coming alongside them in the box set. These are an Adeptus Mechanicus Kill Team, and someone in the chat...
This is okay looking. It's not the best, but it's alright. Like, I like this dude here with the big spider brain thing on his back. Right? We've seen this dude before. We've seen we've seen these guys before. They're okay. They're big and chunky. I like the RoboCop type helm thing going on here. That guy's got kind of the more dynamic pose. I mean, this is kind of a generic pose. That's... They're okay looking. We're going to get some rinse and repeat poses, which is fine.
Earlier on said, I'd give my soul for an Adeptus Mechanicus Kill Team. We're going to send Slanesh knocking on your door anytime soon. But Alex, tell us about these guys.
So these are led by techno-archaeologists who specialise in hunting down arcana and exotic resources. Alongside them, they've got the Servitor Underseers, that guy that seems to be floating there. Basically, these guys specialise in reprogramming and controlling servitors, translating the mission into complex subroutines.
I didn't realise he didn't have any
charges.
legs.
But they can be a bit enthusiastic about the acquisition of more servitors. So if you do happen to have one of these guys float by, be careful they don't steal them. So alongside them, you've got a whole host of various servitors. You can have gun servitors with servo stabilizers, and even techno-medics, which is a rare willingness to heal the fleshy parts of servitors, because you are on a mission far from the forge. Sometimes needs must.
Needs must, right? Absolutely right. What's quite cool on the tabletop, these guys have a rule called the Noospheric Network, where they can transfer power from one server to another. One maybe shuts down and transferring as an APL over to another one, which is really good fun. Different servitors have different rules. We've got the breacher servitors who can knock holes through walls, and the gun servitors and combat servitors carry a huge array of exotic weapons.
I know this is Kill Team, and I think that's really cool that you can knock through terrain and stuff. I wish that was more of a thing in Warhammer 40k as well. There used to be rules for, there still are rules for terrain, but a lot of people don't use them that much. I think it'd be very cool to just blow up something on the battlefield to cause damage to your enemy, or just, you could annihilate cover after so many, after it's been shot up and blasted a bunch. Or you could make cover by shooting down vehicles. I think that would be really cool, and I think that's something I wish there was more of in Warhammer 40k. But again, it's very neat that these guys can punch holes and stuff in walls. That's cool.
Weaponry, including a heavy arc rifle, incendiary igniters, and phosphor blasters, which all sound terrifying. Great fun. Now, coming alongside those two kill teams in the box is the dossier, of course, which is where you would find the full rules for both the kill teams, but also has really loads of extra stuff in there as well. You see all the tokens and things in the cover.
See, this art isn't bad. I like this art. I like the art of this right here. But why is the model, why are these parts just so weird and chunky, man? I would have loved to see this as an actual model instead of the weird Zoidberg-esque thing that we got.
Cards that come in the box. Inside the dossier, you'll find the Joint Ops and Adversary Ops mission packs in here as well. The Joint Ops is really good fun. That's where the Hormigants and Rippers that you get in the box that come into play as well, because there is a tree campaign for playing.
This guy's lost his tail, boss.
Through the narrative of the Tyranid invasion on High Basilicus, and the Hormigants are your NPO, non-player operatives, that you get in there with full data cards and rules for using those to fight against with your friends, which is quite good fun. But also in the box, people have noticed, we showed off on Warhammer Community a little while ago,
scenery.
the Tyranid Infestation Terrain Kill Zone upgrades. Tell me what we've got here.
So you get spore chimneys, capillary towers.
So this stuff was leaked a long time ago, and nobody brought it up, sadly. So a lot of people thought it was just fake. There are things that look like giant xeno eggs, and I think that's what they got turned into.
Gestation sacs, shards, spewer growths, underbrewed mounds, capillary roots, spore vents, and brood nests. There's a lot. Chimneys and vents pump out spores. Capillary towers act as conduits, so when the Hive fleet arrives, that's where they're basically going to get all the biomatter up from. And gestation sacs, you can probably guess.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's such great terrain and a really nice way of really adding a lot of flavour to your kill zone. And
so here's the terrain. That looks like it's made out of pudding. Ugh. This thing I like right here. If you get that tack glue and you just cover this thing and make it look nasty and slimy with some resin, what is that? Quick drying resin or whatever that you put on there, and you use the light to make it kind of look all like wet. That would be very cool. Overall, it's decent terrain. Not all of it is like that. Just looks like, I don't know, one of those fancy pudding things. This is meh. These are all right looking. That's okay looking. But really, I'm just interested in that. Just this bit here.
in standard games, they provide light cover or heavy cover, as you might expect, but actually in the joint op missions, they're also used as objective markers for you to investigate or destroy, or spawn points for Tyranid reinforcements to come out of, which is terrifying as well. It's just a beautiful set of terrain, and it's really nice to see some sort of classic Tyranid terrain from yesteryear made into a plastic set for your battlefield as well.
I didn't realize
Tyranid
this was
players all over the place.
old
You want to get
school
your
stuff.
claws on these. So there we go. That is Kill Team Typhon coming very soon. Got a little bit of time for some questions again from the chat. Ed, anything else we want to?
Alrighty, so the people over on YouTube, I will see you later. That is the Kill Team stuff. Don't worry, we're still gonna keep going on. People of Twitch, I'm just breaking this up for easier finds for people over on YouTube. So by the by, people of YouTube, if you want to see the questions, you can always hop onto their official stream over on YouTube or Twitch and watch the stream for yourself. I'm not really interested in the questions because they have a tendency to just answer the most vanilla questions. So, yep. Anyway, bye, people of YouTube.